Hey, Seafood Jason here with Greenville Academy of Martial Arts. Thank you so much for watching. Today's subject is why most knife methods don't work. Why they suck. Because nothing sucks worse than getting into a fight with a deadly weapon and not having that method work. So we'll be covering that. Before we do that, make sure you exercise your finger, and the like and subscribe button are right there. Hit the bell. Make sure you get notified when more great content comes out. If you don't, something terrible is going to happen to you. In this case, you're going to go to the grocery store, going to get what you really need for the house, get distracted, get a bunch of groceries, go home, and not get the thing you wanted. There's nothing worse than like sitting down, wanting to have popcorn, watch a movie, and you didn't get it, and now it's too late. So do the right thing. Exercise your finger. All right, now I wrote a book on this subject. Crap, wrong book. I wrote a book on this subject here, okay? And we're going to cover a little bit of the big idea from that, and it's JKD's Way of the Blade. So, the blade, why do so many methods miss this point? Pun kind of intended. The big issue is that they start thinking in terms of what's the best way to cut. And the first thing they're doing wrong is they're holding the weapon wrong for self-defense. They're holding it where the weapon's now shorter and it's actually facing them. And so they actually kind of have a blade, a sharp object now facing them. That'd be like being in a gunfight for you gun guys out there and waving the barrel around. You'd never want to do that. You always keep the barrel pointed in a safe direction and never at anything you don't intend to shoot. Same thing with the blade. Because under combat conditions, things are going to get pretty dicey, and the last thing in the world you want to do is be worried about where that blade is. I don't want the blade facing me in case something happens and I accidentally cut myself. Now, in this event, the blade facing the safe direction, that is towards my enemy, away from me, is huge. The second thing it does is it gives me more range. The big problem with the wrong holds and so forth for knife defense is that having the wrong hold limits your range. So now you brought the danger even closer to you. For some reason or another, when you look at most knife things, they're constantly really, really close quarter, and that's going to get you into grappling matches over that blade a lot faster. Which then brings me to the third thing. There's a lot of complexity. Way too much complexity of people doing all of this stuff, and they're slapping themselves as they do it, and I think that's pretty cool. Well, one, I don't like slapping myself. Second, I think the waving of the blade, look at the blade's now offline. Now I'm exposed. I don't want to bring meat to a fight with a meat cutter. So if my enemy's got a blade and now there's meat in front of me and his blade, that's bad. So I want to stay everything behind my blade and stay as long as possible. I'm going to bring Aaron in because Randy, I don't know, we called Randy and Randy, I don't know.
He wimped out.
He wimped out completely.
He's gone.
He's got a new truck.
He's playing with his truck.
He's playing his truck.
Yeah.
So those of you wondering where Randy was, that's where Randy is. He's playing with his truck. He's driving around in his brand new truck. So, knife stuff. Complexity is going to get you in serious trouble, like I was saying, and sure the range. I have Aaron using a hold, which is more like the stabbing hold. Now, the problem with the stabber's hold is that the only thing that's really good for is stab. And your job is not to murder a dude. I mean, think about this. Are you psycho? There was a movie for that, or are you trying to defend yourself? That position is better for shanking guys and ice pick stab. We're going to stay in this long stance, and we're going to use the length of the blade and our footwork to keep us as safe as possible. Now, first and foremost, when he makes a move to me, and notice he's moving and he's leaving himself exposed for a counter cut. Now, trust me, I don't know if you've ever had a paper cut. They hurt like heck. And you cut, oh man, you get cut. I'll do that again. He swings, misses, that blade hits him, and it's called a snap cut. Now, obviously, we're using practice blades. For those of you who aren't, really, I gotta do this disclaimer. Don't practice with anything sharp. If you're that dumb anyway, it's not, my disclaimer is not gonna help. But seriously, these are foam trainers, so I can hit him pretty hard with it and get used to the snap cut. What's happening is the blade is the thumb, and the thumb reinforced grip is snapping the blade into him. When it does that, it cuts and takes some flesh off. And that hand and that arm are now going to be severely compromised, if not immobilized. Depends on where the thing catches him. Now notice, I didn't try to snap. If I can't snap cut him first and hit him in the fingers and the hands, and that's it for his fingers. I mean, if I hit him there, it's going to be very hard to grip with 2 or 3 fingers dangling off of you, maybe severed. So that's going to come in pretty hard, okay? Now, if I can't get him there, I'm going to get him at the end of that shot. The reason for that is because I don't want to be trying to block that blade. right? I want to use my footwork. I certainly don't want to be trying to stop it and then cut him or do something. And again, this is murder. That is not self-defense. So I was just trying to defend myself, officer, so I cut him 77 times, That's going to get you a visit to the local jail cell. And it doesn't help you to defeat one jerk and end up in a holding cell with 10 more like him. I stole another Tony line right there. But seriously, so what's happening is as soon as he goes to move to me, if I can't meet him there, I step. And now, there's the next shot. Now notice another thing I just did. Because of the length of the blade, as he swung, missed, that shot hits him clean. Now I'm trying to take out as much of his space as possible. It seems kind of barbaric, but you're in a knife fight. Okay, so what's going on here is this hand's going to be moving. So as he's swinging at me, that hand's moving, right? So it's coming back quick. If I miss it, I get cut again. So I don't want to go let him pass me and then try to trap him. If I'm wrong with this, man, I'm cut. I'm dead. Okay? I don't want to be there for that. What I'm doing is, the minute he tries to cut me, I'm moving, and then there's that shot. Yeah. So I can catch him right in the face, and if this area is going to bleed profusely, if I catch him in the eye or anywhere, it's going to just, don't do this without goggles on. We're professionals working, okay? So what I'm doing is, the minute he goes to cut, I'm trying to move and cut and keep cutting. The snap cut allows you to be like Ali with, right, anything happening. And I'm trying to cut pieces of him off, right. And so he's off balance, and I'm using that footwork. Right? And so you're going to keep getting snap cut. Now I'm going to split his skull wide open and cut his fingers off. Unless you're in a fight with the Terminator, you're John Connor, we're having a different conversation. What's happening here is you're trying to diminish his ability to bring the fight to you. You're trying to get out of there. I'm not trying to kill him, right? Self-defense. I'm not trying to kill him. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the heck out of there. If I cut his fingers or his arm and he can't wield that weapon anymore, I win the fight. I'm getting out of there. If I hit him and I cut his head open, he's bleeding everywhere. He's going to be diminished. It's going to be very traumatic. And again, you can follow up more shots with that. But the idea is that snap cut is really all you need. You don't need to be doing all of this other stuff. You certainly don't need to be doing trapping motions and cutting when there's another blade in play. Or even if he doesn't have a blade in play, right? He's just right. He's just trying to grab me and take me down. And I start cutting him. What do you think he's grabbing me? Now, that puts me in a much more precarious situation. I'm not saying you can't fight your way out of it, but I am saying, this dude's stronger than you, right? Now what do? This is a lot better here, is I just keep cutting him. Every time he's in my range, I'm cutting him. I just took his fingers off. He's not the same man now, okay? I tell women this all the time. If it's a sexual assault type of scenario, bah, snap cut, his fingers are gone, it's gonna be hard for him to carry on his threat without his, what? It's serious. I mean, these are fingers, man. So the point being, not a bad joke. The point being is it's a self-defense tool, and you look at it the same way you'd be looking at your jab and your footwork. So it goes right into what we do with JKD all the time. So if you're practicing JKD properly, you already have the mechanics for the intercepting snap cut. And it's right there. And notice I'm not bringing the weapon out to stab him, which is a slower motion, easier to grab me. All right, I'm certainly not doing that number. None of that stuff. It's really hard to get a hold of his blade because I'm mobile, right? And the blade is always between me and him, right? So every time he's trying to do anything, right, that blade just keeps cutting him. It's awesome. It works really, really well. You can practice it, and notice just how good it is. And the last thing I'll say with this is notice that every time I'm cutting him, if I'm cutting his fingers, he's now really diminished. I'm cutting the inside of his arm, his grip is going to be compromised. The muscle, you cut that pretty good, he's not able to grip. The fight is fundamentally over at that point without this guy dying. This is the thing I want to follow through. If you're ever in a position where you need to use this as a self-defense weapon, I mean, it's going to be traumatic enough. The last thing in the world you want to do, think about this. I don't want to be stepping in and stabbing this guy, and you're not a soldier. I mean, you're not, in a war zone, you don't want to kill anybody. You want to get the bad guy to stop doing the terrible thing he was doing. And in this case, for whatever reason, you needed to use a weapon. But you can use it in such a fashion, if you're good at it, that's not lethal. Obviously, he needs medical attention and he needs it in a hurry. But you can still do that without doing something that's gonna more than likely kill him. Now, can this be used in lethal? Of course it can. But if you use it properly, it's gonna help you stay as safe as possible and keep that guy alive, which again, you might be thinking to yourself, well, there's a lot of guys have never thought about it, but that is a really big component of rational self-defense. You know, morally, I don't want to have to do that. Legally, all I want to do is get away. So this is a lot more consistent than the other stuff. That's why I was telling you that most of the knife stuff is terrible because it's not taking those things into consideration. It's getting you too close, it's making it complex, it's bringing your blade away from the line, okay? And it's putting you in positions where you're not the defender anymore, now you're the attacker. So just that alone is why the other knife methods are not as logically consistent and morally consistent as this one is. So, hope this helped. Thanks for Aaron taking some shots off the forehead and the arms and fingers. He's safe. Were there any Aarons injured in this?
Not today.
Not today. Good.
Not today.
Remember, if you are doing this, if you're going to practice, we've got a book on it, check the book out, but never practice with anything that's solid with anybody. That's an easy way to just break their hands and fingers. And without no face shots, without goggles on or anything like that. But remember, this one's very light and safe. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. If you are in the Greenville, South Carolina area, as I've been saying for a while, stop in. We'd love to see you, and we'd love to be able to train with you, get to meet Aaron, and probably Randy will be back in from his truck. Check out the city. It's a beautiful city. Don't stay here though. Our traffic is terrible, so we ask for you to come in and get out quickly. So anyway, good to see you, and we'll catch you next time.